Dave Earl Workman here. Welcome to Workman Wisdom. It's the second week of our monthly blog, and I want to share with you more today about how to dominate in listing more real estate. You know, our theme this month is listing, and we talked in our last series about why to list, why it's important to list, how a listing generates 1.5 buy-side closings, and we kind of put it all together to get you in that mindset that listing was critical. Hopefully, since our last session, you've put together your business plan, you've got your 4 pillars of income, and you've got the 4 specific areas that you're going to work on to generate the number of appointments that's necessary to hit your income goal. Today, I'm going to talk about now what. All right, so you go out there and you prospect, and you get a listing. Now what are you going to do? How do you compete with all these other agents that are out there and dominate every single time? I'm going to start by telling you that the top agents in the country that do 150 to 200 listings a year, they do things a little bit differently. And I promise they have a system. They have systems for everything. You first have to decide that you want to be different from everybody else. You can't go into this listing mentality and say to yourself, hey, I think I'm going to be average. I mean, everybody shows up with their 4P marketing plan. Put a sign in the yard, put an ad in the paper, put it on the MLS, and pray that it sells. And while that might have worked back in the day, today, it's much more complex than that. And the seller is looking for you to stand out. And so you have to differentiate yourself. And it's not just giving them a list of things you do. It's the whole package from the very first conversation all the way through to the listing appointment and then how you handle that listing once you get it. I'm going to say that every agent that has wild success as a listing agent breaks the listing down into these 3 phases. There's the before you have the listing, the during the listing presentation and while you have the listing, and then there's after the listing. Before, during, and after. In today's session, I want to talk about the before phase. So let me share with you how we generate more listings and how we win more of the at-bats that we get during that before phase. So the first thing is you have to realize that 85% of the top 100 agents in the country all do what I like to call as a pre-listing package. That's a package or a presentation that goes out prior to you getting there to actually meet with the client face-to-face. Terry Murphy, one of our coaches and one of the best speakers in the country, also a former top 100 agent, talks about the pre-listing package kind of like the opening ceremonies to the Olympics. Imagine going to the Olympics and not having an opening ceremony. Well, going on a listing presentation without having a pre-listing package is just like that. And she says that you must have a pre-listing package or a pre-appointment package. The second part in this before phase is to do your research. The third is to do your research on the prospect. The first is do your research on the home. And that means you go on the MLS, you look at the sold properties, the currently listed properties, the ones that failed, the ones that were withdrawn. I want you to know everything you can about the neighborhood and what drives values up. Also, what drives values down. What about the schools? Tell me everything you know about that area. You should be a true neighborhood expert if you want to list the home. The second thing is you want to do research on the prospect. And the way you do research on the prospect is you start by just Googling them. Let's Google this person and find out what we find out. You might find out they're executives or that they're involved in charities or they're involved in, they have garage sales often. There's lots of things you can find out about someone just by Googling them. I'm next going to check my social sites, look on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram. Let's see if we have common connections or people that we know together. The next piece is I'm going to send out the pre-listing package, and I'm going to send that out before I actually meet with them. And so these are all part of the steps that happen in the before phase. So we build the pre-listing package, we then do our research on the property, next we do the research on the prospect, and then the last thing we do is we actually send it. And all of that happens before we actually get there. So what belongs in a great pre-listing package, and how do you actually make sure that you've got this pre-listing package done correctly? Well, borrowing from Terry Murphy, I went in and I looked at Terry Murphy's pre-listing package. And I said, okay, Terry, what are the pages that you believe are critical to a pre-listing package? And these are the pages she talks about. Now, as I go through here, I'm going to kind of tell you why we have each of these pages. The first is a proof of delivery, a receipt. Terry says that you as the agent should never drop off the pre-listing package yourself. She says you want to have it delivered with a courier or by FedEx because you want them to sign that they received it. You also need to let them know prior that it's coming so they know the plan on it. The next thing is a cover page with a tagline. The tagline is your unique selling advantage, your differentiator, the thing that makes you different from everybody else. A letter to the seller from you saying, hey, thanks for giving me the opportunity to present who we are and what we do for your listing. I love number 4. The 4th page is the lender support letter. You know, one of the things you have to realize is that we're all teams. We all have people that work with us to help us be exceptional, including our lenders. And so on this page, it's a letter from my lender saying, hey, I work really close with Rural Workman and the Workman team to make sure that any buyer that comes in is actually qualified to purchase your home, so you don't waste your time with people that aren't qualified. I then give my personal mission statement, and those are my mission and my vision and my goals and my values that I want to share with the client. Now, the next piece is really important, and this is the complete seller's guide to interviewing an agent. And I love this page because it might have 27 questions that I want the seller to ask any agent about listing their home. And several of their questions are geared towards my answers because no one's going to answer those questions the way I am. Make sure you read this before you send it out, but make sure you have the complete seller's guide. The next one is you want to have them meet the team. Now, meeting the team, if you're a single agent, your team's going to consist of, could be your broker, it could be your administrative assistant, your lender, your title company, your home inspector. You have a team of people that support you in the transaction. It could be a list of other vendors or people that might help you in getting the house ready to sell. If you're a team, it'll be you, your buyer's agents, your administrative staff, your ISA, and so whoever your team members are, make sure you include bios and what their role is during the listing process. The support services page is great. This is what I call my B team. These are my handyman, my contractors, my painters, my yard care people, the stager. These are the people that don't work for me, but they're part of my overall team in getting projects done. I love this one. The page 9 is just so you know how we work. And during the listing presentation, I'm going to send this out in advance so they understand how we work through the process of the transaction. But then when I'm with them, I make them initial each of the line items on the just so you know how we work. The seller's homework page. Now, this is kind of my secret weapon. I've learned that about 100% of the time, if my sellers do the homework that I ask them to do, that we list. And so I ask them for a copy of the last 12 months of the utility bills, gas, power, electric, whatever utility bills they have. I also ask them to make copies of 2 keys and a copy of their recent mortgage so I know when their mortgage was signed. I get all that information. Now, think about this. When you show up at the property, here's what the seller's gone through. They've read your program, they know how you work, they've met your team, and they've actually gone through steps to give you what you need to list the home. They've made copies of the utility bills, they've gone to Home Depot and made 2 copies of keys. When you show up, if you look at the table while you're walking the house and you can see your seller's homework, I guarantee it's now up to you not to lose the listing. Sometimes you just have to shut up and close. When I see they've done their seller's homework, it completely changes how I go through and finish my presentation. Seller's homework is critical. I show them where my website is, give them a link so they can see other properties we listed and what they look like online. A seller information sheet, everything I want to know about the seller and their property. A builder client list, meaning that I've got if it's a builder, then I want their client list because I'm going to be marketing to their clients. Testimonials and referral pages as part of your pre-listing package is great. If you're doing a pre-list CD or a DVD or a USB drive or sending it electronically, then you would send that as video. But I want raving fans that are like them that would say something like this. You know, we interviewed several agents before finally deciding to go with Rural, and what we found is that there were agents willing to do it for less. But after having done business with Rural and his team, not only did he sell our house and get us the money that we needed to get out of our home, we would have been willing to pay him more. It was the best experience we've ever had selling a house. I want raving fans telling them how great you are. You know, if I walk in and tell you how good I am, it doesn't have the same feeling as when a third party comes in and tells them how great you are. We also want to do a Clean Kids Club. This is kind of a fun thing that Terry's always done, and she taught me this, and we use it, and that is when you have a family, I want to get the kids involved in the home showing process. Showing a house is a pain in the butt, and so I have a certificate made up that's got whatever is important to the mom. It might say, you know, a Chick-fil-A Happy Meal or whatever, and if we have a showing of the home and the kids do their part in getting their house ready, then next time I see them, I get out my award for my Clean Kids Club and to make them part of the process. The seller estimated expense form. Now, this is really what they want to do at the listing presentation. And so I put it in my pre-listing package, a seller's net form. And the seller's net form, I leave blank. And I put in a handwritten little Post-it note to be filled out during our listing appointment on Thursday. And so they see that I'm going to give them a net, but I don't give them the net until we actually view the property and I can come up with a price together with them. I give them a manager owner's letter of support saying from my manager or team leader saying that you have the full resources of our company behind Vril and listing this property. Any kind of additional extras you can even imagine putting in there that will separate you from everybody else. A lot of agents would like to use a clue report that says, has there been any claims on that property from an insurance perspective? What we do while you're sleeping to keep the property on the market 24/7. And then, of course, a tax letter showing what happens as a result of taxes after the sale of the home. This information in a pre-listing package, I want you to think about this. Every agent's showing up with the same thing, right? You're completely selling them on you before you even show up at the home. The key of a pre-listing package and getting all this ready beforehand is to make sure that they're ready when you get there. Now, let me just give you one last thing that we do in preparing the seller in the before phase. And that is getting the seller prepared emotionally by getting all the information we can. And what I like to do is I like to have my assistant call the seller. And so they do a phone interview and it's a confirmation of the appointment. Hi, this is Melissa. I'm calling to confirm a meeting with Vril on Thursday at 4 o'clock. He's going to come out and talk to you about listing your home. Is it all right if I ask you just a couple quick questions in preparation for the meeting? The seller always says yes. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're moving? I want to know why they're moving. And do you have a deadline or a time frame of when you really need to be out of the home? These two things are really important because it establishes urgency and helps me in the pricing discussion later. The next question is a fun one, and you have to really train your assistant to ask the question the right way. I say, now, do you have an idea of where you'd like to be price-wise? And they say, well, no, that's why I really want to meet with Vril. This is where your assistant has to show some skill. Well, and we just ignore that they answered it that way, and we say, well, were you thinking 300? Oh, no, more than that. Oh, 4? A little more, 5, 600? No, a little bit less, so 550? Yes, somewhere in that range. I want to know where that seller is price-wise to see if they're smoking crack on the price. And then I can make the necessary adjustments before I get there to set their expectations realistically. The next thing I'm going to ask and have my assistant ask when she's confirming the appointment is, have you had a chance to look at the pre-listing package that was delivered to you 2 days ago? This is critical because in that there's some seller's homework that we need you to make sure you complete before Vril gets there on Thursday. Have you had a chance to look at that? Do you have any questions about it? Oh, do I really need to get those utility bills done? The answer is absolutely. And then the last thing, and I love this question, is there anything else you really want Vril to know before you meet with him on Thursday? The seller usually answers, no, I think we're ready to go. The seller has had such an amazing experience up to this point. The opening ceremonies have been so grand that when you get there, they're already sold on you. The key to be an effective lister is to be prepared before, during, and after the listing to blow away and exceed the expectations of your seller. Good luck as you continue on this road to becoming a phenomenal listing agent.